Good evening. I'm going to read from Dim Blue Belladonna 25, which has two works in it, Dim Blue and Why Yell. Dim Blue was originally published in The Motive, a little book published by Zasterly Press in the Canary Islands in 1991, and was proximate to the first invasion of Iraq. The piece is dedicated or is written after Teresa Hak-Young Cha's dictee, and I'm going to start on page 5 and read about half the work. It is visible, but it is not a tree. The negative that makes of a word material comes from the language-making capacity in music. Trees, music, language coexist. With the comings and goings, the dim, she is not the same, not he, but without a negative, he and she, writing he and she coexist. Immersion and water separate and co-author the experiment if history accounted for, made accounts of, was literate on the person at rest in opposition to, or not even in opposition to action, then a group of ideas related to non-action would change the nature of need so that one would say, I need to act, and not, I need to rest. The rest would challenge the power base, and the literate she, and he forget the first Brazil. There is no blue as history. The negative is still going east and has not dispensed with activity. Trees, music, language coexist in a rumble. The pond also rumbles. Rounding education as a plant taken to be water, then child moving from one preference to another as if it were experimental. An electronic negative writes to non-action, dear sugar, is literate child taken to be history. War machines round the pond. He, she, and he, and she rest. There are no provocateurs in the language of rest, and the machines round the pond unprovoked. A sinister sexuality preferring history. It makes it name itself contemporary, blue, where blue came from, as not break or plant, but lining pond, rounding rest, therefore only in one place, written but not literate, taken to be history as child. It is a lie that it has gotten worse, and it is a lie that it has gotten better. It is the same. Rounding the desert is the same as rounding the pond. No one is there but rounding, but lining. If history were made by a series resting, yet there are many arguments for the contrary, although voices disappear as fast as the contemporary arrogance taken as history can obliterate them, though music contradicts she, he, the child sings and contradicts. She brings preference to history, banishes contemporary, banishes pond and trees with people rounding and lining pond and trees. She imposes a meaning on people that negates the beauty of rounding and lining pond and trees. I know that is simplistic, and it is wrong when one does not recede to the oversight of the Western philosophical tradition. But when vice versa, overseeing the recession of it, I speak my mind, or not, without receding. In this case, memory is a negative, repetition and jargon, dormouse memory. Sacks of tomatoes roll my way with the contents spilling over into my hidden habitation. Sky with a tomato in my hand. It is a happy tradition, and what might be said, not resting, but in the midst of uncertain activity or even violence, might be an excerpt if something were capable of becoming an animal, a dormouse surfacing after the master has left the house. The first mental association resulted in arrogance, and the second in embarrassment. Then came humiliation. This hierarchical lineage is a product of an overactive memory in which the first words from the memory stem from this oversight. They are not to be permitted, but if they are not to be permitted, why is a child taken in language to be a plant, to be watered, fed, nurtured like a plant, as if diminutive, as if a plant were diminutive, which it is not, as also a child is not, the sky in one place in the company of the dormouse, who hides. The philosophical humiliator insists, take a guess, the sky below is a guess. The wrong answer is Brazil. Thought the drunken skunk sadist can think the wrong answer anyway because he is a sadist and the child is not, even though the humiliator encourages the child to produce the wrong answer, creating a loop. When the drunken skunk sadist affirms the wrong answer of the child as his own unswerving thoughts, when the answer is, as it always will be, an oversight, the sinister oversight mounts social convenience, riding it through a rotund assembly of Cadillacs driven by snakes. A U-turn slips on a yes. History sips yellow, hers for speech. His is blue, a fantasy blue, and dim lament.